Namaskar दोस्तों, welcome once again at Lit E City, the YouTube channel that brings exciting stuff related with English literature. We are starting a mini series here, the most important, very popular post colonial dramas that were written by those writers who belonged to the earlier colonies, European colonies, and how they tried to wrote about the experience, the colonial experience. They presented all these things through these dramas. Okay, friends, for our first drama, we will see a dance of the forests. These are some facts, basic facts, key facts about this drama. It is written by Wole Soyinka, a very famous Nigerian writer. It was first produced in 1960 and published in 1963. The genre of this play is allegorical satire. This play is basically a satire in the form of traditional allegory that is found in tribal, or we can say native drama. At the same time, it also incorporates elements of fantasy. So it's a very complex drama to analyze, because there are a lot of fantastical elements in it. The structure is non-linear. There is blending of natural and supernatural. There is shifting between past and present. So it's a very complicated play in that respect, but otherwise it is a very enthralling work. If we talk a little about the author, Wole Soyinka, or with his complete name, Akinwande Wole Soyinka, born in 1934, he is a very much acclaimed Nigerian playwright and political activist. In fact, the very important fact about him related to our competitive exam is that in 1986, Soyinka became the first black African to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. This sum up his stature in the African writings, that how much importance he has. He is known for fusing Western elements, we can say certain elements he borrowed from the Western dramatic tradition, and then he fused them, subject matter and dramatic techniques of his own native region, Yoruba folklore and religion. Dear friends, when we talk about African, Australian, Indian, or any other colonial culture, we must try to remember, we must try to understand what is the particular feature of their native culture, because it is generally used by these writers. So, Soyinka is known for using elements from the Yoruba folklore of Nigeria. If we talk about some of his very popular works, his very first work, The Lion and the Jewel, which was produced in 1959, this work create a space for him in international dramatic area. Then there is another very satirical and hilarious, The Trials of Brother Jaro. Obviously, A Dance of the Forest is one of the work for which he is very much famous. Death and the King's Horseman. This was the work which really made him an international name of reckon. And quite, we can say, recent time in 2002, he published King Babu, which is a scathing critique of the Nigerian politics of that time. These are some of his very popular work. Apart from this, he has also written articles and poetry and autobiographical. So he is, we can say, a very prominent and prolific writer. Dear friends, before we engage further, it's a very humble request to support and subscribe this channel, because we always try to bring new stuff and important stuff for you people. Okay, coming to this particular play, and let's have some background information regarding this. The very first fact and important fact is that Soyinka founded an acting company. He himself directed and acted. He founded two companies. This one, the 9060 Masks. It is name of the company he founded, and he wrote his first important play. This play, A Dance of the Forests, for it. The play was written as a part of the Nigerian independence celebration. Look, the decade of 50s, late 50s and 60s, these decades were the decades of political independence of former colonies, former European colonies. Many African and Southern Asian countries got their independence, and so there was sort of independence celebrations going on. Soyinka wrote this play, and actually the play is not glorification of the past. It satirizes the fledgling, the newly independent nation by stripping it of any kind of romantic legend and showing that the present is no more a golden age than was the past. So because of this particular, we can say, attitude, a critical attitude towards the past became the reason of a lot of raised eyebrows. People were not happy that he is presenting Nigeria and Nigerian past in such a, we can say, bare lights. But Soyinka has always been of this sort of writer who put the mirror in front of you. Let's have a glance at the major characters of the play. We have a dead man who is a soldier in a former life who was castrated for his unwillingness to go to war. Another complexity of this play is that the characters basically live in two parts. There is an earlier life, former life, and there is the present life. Same characters, and in the same play they switch between the present life and then they go to the former life. So this dead man is one of them. Then there is a dead woman, a woman, obviously wife of this dead man, and she was pregnant with man's child in her former life just before her death. Then we have Forest Head. He is the connecting link between these two times. He is the god who summons the four characters. These four characters have tortured the dead men and the dead women in their former lives. Next character is Mata Kharibu. Mata Kharibu was an emperor in his former life. And then we have Rola. She is in present life a prostitute, but in earlier life she was Madame Tortoise and Queen to Mata Kharibu. So there are some other characters also, some courtiers of Kharibu's court who also play part in this play. Let's start discussing about the plot line. The play opens with a Yoruba festival which is known as Gathering of the Tribes, in which eminent people, villagers gather because their ancestors visit them. But instead of ancestors, a dead man and a dead woman, they come out from their burial ground. They are here sent by Aroni. Aroni is a god, and the permission of the forest heads is also there, that instead of glorious ancestors, these two people be allowed to come to the earth. Now, four villagers now come through the forest. These four are Rola, who is at present a prostitute and very much dissatisfied; Agnebi, who is a court historian in his earlier life. He was the court historian of Mata Kharibu, but now he is in present times a council orator. Almost we can say the same role he apprises. Akboreko, he was a soothsayer to Mata Kharibu court, and in the he is playing the same role in the present life also. And Demoki, he was a poet in the court of Mata Kharibu, but now he is a wood carver. So we see that these four characters, they have played another role in their past life. They are brought here The reason is Aroni, the god, has selected these four in order for them to gain knowledge about their past lives and to atone for their sins. Side by side, I must tell you the allegorical importance of this structure, this technique is that past is viewed with a critical lens. Past is not forgotten or forgiven. It is viewed with a critical lens so that the present can change themselves. This will happen with these characters also. Now, there is Obanji. Obanji is the forest head. Actually, he is disguised in human form. He invites the character to join in all these characters to join in a welcome dance for the dead man and the dead women. But before that, Ishuoro, who is a wandering spirit, it comes and interrupts the proceeding. The reason behind this is that Ishuoro is seeking vengeance for the death of Orimon, one of his followers or supporters, and who is also Demoke's apprentice. But Demoke killed this particular person, Arimol, by pulling him off the top of an arba tree when they were both carving. So for this particular act, Ishuoro wants to punish Demoke. But there is also Ogun, another Yoruba god. Let me tell you that Yoruba tribe and Ogun god very frequently features in Soyinka's work. So Ogun, who is guardian of metal workers and artisans, so that is why he is also, we can say, a protector of Demoke. He wants to protect Demoke from Ishuoro, and he tries to distract Ishuoro by offering him leftover wine. Now what happens that Aroni and the forest head transport the characters back in time into the court of Matakharibu. So they all are transported into their previous lives, and the dead man, he becomes a soldier. Now the dead man refuses to go to war against another tribe because Caribou has taken by force one of the tribe leaders' wife, Madame Tortoise. So basically he refuses to fight on the behalf of King. Obviously King is very much angry at this act, and he says that the soldier will be punished. None of these courtiers who were present at the court in various we can say roles, none of them help the soldiers, and he is castrated and given to a slave dealer. The soldier's wife rushes in. She is pregnant, and she pleads to the queen to save the life of her husband, but to no avail, and it is left up to the audience to determine how she is killed. So the past shows the ugly truth of the rule, and we can also understand that how Soyinka is pointing out that earlier also, before colonization also, Nigeria was afflicted by such cruelties or such we can say rulers without any kind of conscience. Now, in the last section, the play is divided into 5 parts. It depicts the merging of the human and the natural worlds. One by one, various natural elements of the earth like sun, water, ants, they awake and address the forest head. They all have their own speeches. They make their speeches. The dead woman appears at the same time holding the hand of a half child. She is no more pregnant, and there is only a half child. Suddenly a figure in red also appears, and this figure in red tries to lure the child away with its game. This figure in red mimics the child action, and the child is obviously attracted by this particular figure. Side by side, there are spirit of darkness, it speaks, spirit of precious stones, it speaks, then the spirit of pachyderms, spirit of the rivers. They all move and speak in large chorus when suddenly they all stop after some time. So there is a tense moment, and suddenly the figure in red rips off his mask and it reveals himself to be Ishioro, who continuously have been trying to have his vengeance. Demoke succeeds in taking the child to the dead women. There are some desperate efforts for pulling the child away from Ishiguro, and Aroni leads the mother and child off. They are gone. Now, last thing that happens in the play, the dance of the unwilling sacrifice, another ritual. It begins, and there is a totem tree. Ishuoro pushes Damoke towards that totem. Damoke has to climb it, and as he gets higher, Ishuoro lights the totem on fire. That only because he wants to burn Damoke alive. But again enters to aid his follower, and he catches Damoke when he falls down. Now, in the last part, Igbel music plays, the traditional native music of Nigerian Yoruba tribes, and Damoke, Agboreko, the old man, Rola, Adnebi, all these characters who were, we can say, the part of that particular act, they speak an epilogue, they realizes their mistakes, their past sins. So basically the play ends with all the mortal characters who experience rebirth, a sort of they have taken a rebirth, just like Nigeria has taken a rebirth, learning the lesson of their former lives and evolving into new people. So there is a message of hope in the end, that we can learn from our past mistakes and let our country not we can say delve into the same problems that it made earlier. So friends, this was this beautiful play, this very poetic symbolical play in which Soyinka has mingled many Yoruba traditional element with Western techniques. I hope I was able to bring the gist of the play for you. Thank you for your kind support.